Hi everyone, we'll just wait a few minutes for everyone to jump on.
Just double checking you can hear me, Jamie?
Yep.
Can you hear me, Jamie?
Yep.
Cool.
So I'll just go on and share the screen. Can everyone see that? Cool. Okay, so we'll just wait a few more minutes just so everyone else can jump on. So, hi everybody, my name's Jamie. So I'm the development coordinator at the Hamilton City Netball Centre. And I'll be kind of like hosting the session in the background, and Ruth and Andrea will be going through the rule updates. Yeah, because they're the umpires. So today we are going to just put that up. So that's Ruth and Andrea there, if you don't know them already. And I'll just talk a little bit about our protocol. So if you could please leave your audio on mute so that they can have a good conversation and you can hear everything. And then we'll have a little Q&A session at the end where you can ask questions. So it'll be, if you could just type them in the chat. So there's a little chat box up on the side there. If you could just type in your questions and we'll try and answer them as best as possible. If we don't get them answered in this session, you can find them on our website, and also you could email me and I'll also put them on our Facebook event as well. So I'll just quickly get Ruth and Andrea to introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Andrea. I've been involved in netball for as long as I can remember, since I started playing when I was quite young, and I've been fortunate to be involved in almost every capacity. Currently I have my New Zealand B badge, and I've been part of the Zone Performance Squad over the last couple of years. I'm also a New Zealand umpire coach, and also a facilitator. And I'm part of the Hamilton City leadership group, which I'm really pleased to be part of, so I can give back to netball. I've received so much, which I'm really grateful for, and it's great to be able to feed something back into the community and support our centre.
Cool, thanks Andrea. Hi everybody. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Ruth Robinson. I'm also a New Zealand B umpire at Hamilton City Netball Centre. I'm also part of the Waikato Bay of Plenty Level 2 umpire squad, and I'm an umpire coach as well. Part of the Hamilton City Netball Centre umpire leadership group, and with that I look after primarily the ITU group this year, which is going to be new for me, but I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also a Hamilton City Netball Centre board member. Thank you. All yours, Jamie.
Thanks, Ruth and Andrea. Okay, so in this session we'll be covering passing distances, requirements for taking a shot, obstruction of the player in possession of the ball, and game management. So we'll just start getting into it.
Right, thanks, Jamie. First and foremost, I thought what I would do is just clarify for those who are not too sure what a sanction means when we talk about a sanction. That's a generic term used for a free pass or a penalty pass. So just wanted to clarify that just so that people understand what when we say you apply a sanction, that's what we're talking about, just to make that nice and clear. Right, passing distances. If you've got your rule books with you, this week what we've done is we've put up the page number that refers to the old rule book, and we're going to leave that up on the slide just so that if you're needing to, if you haven't got your hands on a new rule book yet, you can make reference to that. But just please note there has been a slight change to it, and when you are able, if you can grab yourself a new rule book and make note of that, that would be great. So those of you that do have a new rule book, page 52 is where we're heading to, passing distance, particularly referring to the change to the short pass rule. So when a player passes the ball, there must be sufficient space for an opposing player on the court to be able to intercept the ball with a hand as it moves between the hands of the thrower and those of the receiver. So the clear change, which is highlighted in red on your slide, is with a hand. And then the sanction there is, it has not changed if it is deemed a short pass. It's a free pass. All right, so just if you can just note, if you have an old book, the distance is now with a hand to intercept. So that's the main change there. Nice and easy. Now we will pass on to the next one, which is the requirements for taking a shot. Again, the new rule book, we're looking at page 56 and in your old book 57. The change to this rule is a defending player may not cause the goalpost to move so as to interfere with a shot at goal. And causing it to miss has been taken out. Can we just change the slide there, Jamie? Oh, I'll go back one. Oh, sorry. No, go back two. Sorry. And one more back. I think there was just an incorrect rule underneath that one. All right, just moving on from there. So what is being asked is if this happens in a game and that the goalpost is interfered with, you need to call that straight away, because you are being encouraged not to wait until whether or not the shot has gone in or not. Irrespective, there's been an infringement, and so it needs to be acknowledged that the goalpost is interfered with, irrespective of whether the ball has gone wayward or not. Alternatively, though, if the ball has gone in the goalpost, if the goal has been scored, you do count the goal. The sanction is a penalty pass if the goal defence or the goalkeeper interferes with the goalpost at a shot of goal. Right. Over to you, Ruth.
Thanks, Andrea. Aroha, I'm just wondering if you might be able to mute your, thank you, thanks for that. We're just picking up a bit of noise there. So the next rule has been up on screen for a while, so it's about the obstruction of a player in possession of the ball. So once again, we're talking about rule 11.1, so page 58 in your new book and page 57 of the old book. So what we're talking about here is the main change that they've done with this is change the wording around where the feet are. So it used to read that the player who's within 0.9 metres or 3 feet of an opponent, then they had measured on the ground. Now they've changed all of the wording through all of the rules within this part to say measured between the nearest part of the nearer feet on the ground. So they're getting quite specific about where to measure the 3 feet from. There's a new part of the rule has been inserted, subclause number 3, and that reads, if the player with the ball pivots on the landing foot, the nearest part of the landing foot may change and the opposing player must adjust so that the nearest part of the nearer foot is not less than 0.9 metres or 3 feet from the nearest part of where the landing foot is now grounded. So that's quite a mouthful. So basically, if we were to put that into something for you to imagine on the court, you've got a player, the wing attack, catching the ball from her wing defence. She catches the ball. The wing defending player has set up a 3 feet defence on her. As the wing attack catches the ball and then she pivots on the ball of her foot, and now faces that wing defence who's got the defence on her, that distance has shortened. So the defending player must then adjust. So that's what that part of that rule is explaining there. They've just really re-clarified that part. So Jamie, we're ready to go on to the next slide, if that's okay. Oh, no, we want to go back. What we're looking for, that's okay. Is there one before that one? Right. Okay. So, okay, I can see where the issue is. That's all right. Go back to the one that you're in, Jamie. Apologies, everybody here. So we're looking for rule 11.2, obstruction of a player not in possession of the ball. So what we're talking about there is, once again, they've changed the wording. So it's exactly the same rule in page 58 of your old book and page, I'll just back 2 there, Jamie. Just go back one more. That's it. Just stay there. So obstruction of a player not in possession of the ball. We're now talking about if you could imagine that there's you're on the circle edge, the wing attack or the wing defence. The wing defence is putting, is obviously standing right beside the wing attack as the wing attack's trying to feed it in. So we're still talking about the nearest part of the nearer foot on the ground. So the player may stretch out your arms to catch, deflect or intercept a pass or a fake pass. You may catch, deflect or bat a rebound from an unsuccessful shot at goal. So that would be your goal kicks and goal defences in the circle. And you can momentarily signal for a pass or to indicate the intended direction of a movement. What you may not do is, whether you're attacking or defending, use movements that take the arms away from the body so as to limit the possible movement of an opponent, except as required for the natural body stance. So once again, that rule, the only part that has changed is the part that they're measuring, the nearest part of the nearer foot on the ground. That's the only change there. We're ready to move on now into game management, Jamie.
Thanks, Ruth. Right, game management. This is a really complex rule. So rule 13 it is, page 62 in our new and in our old book. It's very complex in its wording and also in its application. And so we've broken the game management steps down so that to make the understanding of game management as simple as possible. I really do advise that you take some time to really sit and read through this so that you have a clear understanding as to the steps that are available to you as an umpire, but also how they need to be applied and as consistently as possible. And the other rule that you really need to read, which is under game management, but in conjunction to why you would issue a caution or a warning, suspension or ordering off, is the foul play rule. So game management is complex and it takes a lot of practice to be able to apply it effectively. So here goes. There are 4 actions that we may take, that an umpire may take, which are in addition to a normal sanction. So you've got caution, warning, suspension and ordering off. An umpire would look to work through each of these actions in order unless an offence is serious enough to require a higher level to be applied immediately. A decision to apply any of these is made jointly by both umpires. So that's the change, is that the decision for one umpire to, for example, apply a caution or to give a player a caution for an infringement is actually binding on the co-umpire for that player for that infringement. So an example would be if Ruth was my co-umpire and I give a player a caution for persistent contact, it would mean that if that same player then persistently contacted and she was in Ruth's end of the court, say in the following quarter, Ruth could elevate or would need to elevate the next sanction would need to be a warning because it's being applied to the same infringement, the player's doing the same infringement. So I hope that makes it quite clear there. Just to clarify, if you look at page 63, I'm not sure, this is definitely in the new book, page 63, subsection 4, subsection 5. The co-umpire may hold time if an act of foul play is observed that is not seen by the controlling umpire and a sanction has not already been awarded for an infringement. So that means that if Ruth sees something that is serious enough in her end of the court, she can hold time and confer with me as her co-umpire to award an infringement against a player. It would be my responsibility as the controlling umpire to do that, but I can be advised by Ruth for that to happen. The other change, now just moving on to a caution. The main change for a caution is that it is now recorded by the bench officials. So previously, it used to only be that if a player was issued a warning that the bench officials would record this. So now only one caution can be given to a player for a particular infringement, and that is now recorded by the bench officials. Now obviously you don't have a bench on a Saturday generally, so in that example that would be referring to games being played at perhaps in our Thursday night Premier competition. When it comes to Saturday play though, I think that's where, if you have issued a caution for a player, that's where at the break, that's where you have a little discussion with your co-umpire just to remind them and remind each other what you gave that caution for. Moving on from a caution, the next step is warning. So I'm now referring to the top of page 64 in the new rule book. If a player continues to infringe after receiving a caution for a specified behaviour, the umpire will issue a warning to that player. Where appropriate, a warning may be given if no caution has been issued. Now, an example of that would be if there is a form of dangerous play, and for example, if a player has been taken out or her landing space has been taken and it's caused a dangerous fall, that's where the specified infringement can be elevated straight to a warning. Only one warning may be given to a player in the match. So that's a lot of information for you to take in, I'm sure. So if you can please take some time to go back, hopefully re-listen to what I have just said, but also reread at your own pace to make it very clear in your understanding as to how that caution and warning can be applied, and also how it relates to the foul play rule in making those decisions. You are Ruth, you're next.
Cool. Yep, that's great, Andrea. The game management is a pretty full-on subject. I just wonder if I might just jump in and just clarify that Andrea mentioned that when we're co-umpiring, so if myself and Andrea were umpiring together, when Andrea was mentioning that the co-umpire could step in and let the other umpire know of an action, that's just not your ordinary action of contact or stepping or anything like that. What we're talking about here is an act of foul play. So the only time your co-umpire would hold time and want to talk to you about something that you might not have seen because it might not have been in your vision or what have you, would be if there's an act of foul play that they felt was serious enough to take time, talk to their co-umpire about, and then obviously sanction a caution or a warning or whatever they deem appropriate. Yeah, so it's not for you, just to clarify in case you were thinking that it was, yeah, for anything like a step or anything like that. That part hasn't changed. So basically what they've done is we used to have the rule book, and then we had a whole bunch of protocols that we had to follow. What they've tried to do now is blend in the protocols within the rule book. So that was something that that used to be a protocol, it's now a rule. So that's a change there. So moving on to the one after what Andrea was talking about, we've got the caution, we've got the warning, and now we've got the suspension. So you can bring your nice slide up that says suspension, Jamie. So this is rule 13.1.3. What they have made an adjustment here is they've changed the foul play wording around dangerous play. So they've deleted dangerous play, and they've now captured that wording under another rule, which I'll talk about further down, a dangerous play. So what we're talking about now is that the umpire will suspend a player following a warning if the player continues to infringe the foul play rules. So what that's saying is if that player is persistently, they've had their caution by Andrea or myself, they've then had a warning for the same foul play, then on that third time, they will be suspended, and that would be the next step that either umpire would take. So once again, that's no real change other than the dangerous play aspect has been taken out of it. The next part after suspension, so we'll move on to the next slide, Jamie, is ordering off, which I hope no one ever has to do, but it has happened. So with ordering off, they have put a few more words around this. So this is rule 13.1.4. So it now states the umpire will order a player off the court following a suspension if the player continues to infringe the foul play rules. Where appropriate, an umpire may order a player off the court even if no suspension has been given. So we can go straight from a warning to an ordering off if we feel that the action of foul play warrants it. So getting back to the rule, a player who has been ordered off may not take any further part in the match. A player who is ordered off must immediately leave the court. The player reports to the appropriate team officials on the team bench and may not re-enter the field of play. So on a Thursday night Premier game or what have you, they would go to where the umpires side of the officials bench is. On a Saturday, they would have to go and stand in the centre of the court where you see the umpires reconvene at each quarter. They're not to stand with their team, they're to stand with the scorers should be, whoever's taking the score should be standing there, so they need to stand by that person there. The next part that comes in after that was what I was talking about before, which is the dangerous play. So that's rule 13.2.2. So they've changed the word. It used to be, they had the word deliberate there. So now they've taken the word deliberate out because they felt that it was too hard or too unfair to expect that an umpire would have to decide whether something was deliberate or not. So they've taken the word deliberate out and they've changed the wording to say reckless or dangerous. That could affect the safety of another player. So what we're talking about there is your punching, kicking, tripping or striking a player. They've actually taken out the word pushing. Pushing used to be in there, that's now gone. Doesn't mean you can go and push people. The big one here is causing a player in the air to fall by moving into the path of that player. So that was always the rule, but we used to be able to have an accidental dangerous play or a deliberate dangerous play. They've now changed that and it's straight to reckless or dangerous. So it doesn't matter whether you accidentally moved into that path, you didn't see them come, you turned around and you moved into it. That's an accident. It doesn't matter. It was reckless. So that's where they've changed that part of the rule. So once again, the sanction for that is quite harsh. We would go straight to a warning. It wouldn't be a caution. The warning would be the least sanction that we would give out. Depending on the severity of it or the seriousness, we could escalate that to suspension, or in a really serious case, we could order that player off. So that's just tidying up that dangerous play rule in the rule book there. And I think that's just about it, isn't it, ladies? I think we've finished up the main changes in that area. Might be a few questions that people have around anything in there. Over to you, Jamie. And you're on mute.
Unmute myself. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, we got a question from Queenie about the obstruction rule. She's asked, is it referring to the nearest part of the grounded foot or only, of the grounded foot only, or just as stated, the nearest foot?
So are we talking about the rule 11.1, obstruction of a player in possession of the ball?
Yeah.
So what we're saying is, as an opposing player may not...
It was the rule before you had there was one that talked about the landed foot, but it was the one before that actually just says the front foot. It doesn't say whether it's the grounded or the landing foot or just the foot that's frontmost. So that was where my question came from.
Sure. Are you looking at the new rules, Queenie?
It was it was where you had it up. So that was why I thought, hang on a second, there's some discrepancy here. One of them is talking about the front of the landing or the grounded foot and the measurement from the ground, and the other one was saying the front of the foot that is in front. So I was sitting there thinking, well, hang on a second, if that was a shooter's foot, they have their grounded foot and then they take their foot forward, is it taken from the foot that is not their grounded foot, or is it taken from the front part of the foot that's hit the ground first?
Right, okay, so that's where I think Jamie might have accidentally got his slides a little bit muddled there with that one, so I can understand your confusion. So with the rule with obstruction of a player in possession of the ball, it is measured on the ground from the nearest part of the landing foot of the player with the ball to the nearest part of the opposing player's nearer foot. So that's when it's in possession of the ball. And then when we're talking about the obstruction of a player not in possession of the ball, and I think that's the slide that we didn't quite get up, where I got a little bit lost, is we're talking about measured between the nearest part of the nearer feet on the ground. So that's about the player who hasn't actually got the ball. So what we're talking about here is that obstruction rule where, you know, you can imagine a goal shoot is setting herself up to receive the ball. The goalkeeper is putting a defence on her and she has her arms wrapped around the player. So that's obviously an obstruction. She can't be within 9 feet, up to 9 feet.
9 feet.
0.09 meters of that. So it's just, there is a slight difference in the wording there, you're correct, but it depends whether the player's got the ball or not, which is why there's slightly different wording there.
Yep, no, that explains it perfectly.
Sorry about
I
that,
think
that
it
was confusing.
When you were talking about one rule, it was the other slide that was up, and I was sitting here going,
right, yes,
Yeah,
everything
yeah,
you know about
yeah,
obstructions
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah.
So in the rule book there, Queenie, it makes it quite clear in each subsection when the player is in possession of the ball, it's always about the landed foot, and when the player's not in possession of the ball, it's the nearer feet on the ground.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So sorry about that confusion there. We just had
That's
the
all right.
wrong slide.
I thought lockdown had completely mushed my brain.
No, I think it's mushed out all of our brains.
Any other questions there, Jamie?
No.
Probably just wanted to reiterate something that Andrea said last week around that game management area is if you're a player or a coach or even if you are an umpire on a game, the game management rules are one of the hardest to get to grips with. And I think some patience might need to be applied, like while we've all got access to the rule books, actually trying to apply those in a stressful 1 second, we don't even have a second situation to decide if you're going to go down that game management, or some of the newer umpires coming through, it's quite a big ask. So I guess what we're saying is, as umpire coaches and leading these new umpires coming through, if we could just kind of understand that that's a skill that develops over time and experience and grows with confidence. So some help in that with helping our umpires gain that experience and confidence would be greatly appreciated by everybody out there, because it's a biggie.
Yeah, a lot of the changes that I've seen you guys present, which have been really helpful over the last 2 weeks, seem to be mostly around that game management area, which has been quite grey, and now it looks like from these new rules that are coming through, they're making them very black and white. So it's actually helpful as both an umpire and a coach to be able to understand that and work with players to make the game a much cleaner game to manage and play. So thanks, ladies.
Yeah,
good job.
Thanks, Queenie.
Absolutely, you're welcome. Cool.
Yeah, has anybody else got any questions? We've got a thank you from Samantha Lee and thank you from Julia to you guys. So, but other than that, we don't have any questions. So has anyone got any other questions before we wrap up?
If you see us there on a Saturday or a Thursday night and you've got a question, please don't be afraid to come and ask Andrea or myself or anyone else that you see in the umpire jackets. We do try to be approachable, so we can try and help clear up any misunderstandings that you might have. We obviously can't critique or comment on a game or a situation that has happened in the past, because there's so many different variables that could have happened. But if there's any rule clarification, please don't be afraid to come up and approach us and ask us. We're more than happy to have a good chat about it, because the more we chat about it as umpires, the better understanding that we get of it, and the more it just rolls from there. So yeah.
And likewise, over the next few days, when you do hopefully take some time to read through these rules again, if you have any pressing questions that you'd like answered, I know Jamie's got her email address up here, fire them through to her, and we can come back to you directly with an answer and help kind of clear that up for you. So please don't be afraid to send any question through. Nothing silly. That's how we all learn, and it's like Ruth just mentioned, the more times we get to answer the questions, the better understanding we have as well. So and I think also too, just keep an eye out on our Facebook page for the centre. We've been popping some theory questions up there just to see how the community's going with answering them. They're in a form of a poll, so keep an eye out for those too. We're trying really hard to educate and keep everybody connected with what these rules and clarifications look like. And we just hope that these last couple of sessions have been worthwhile for you, and we thank you very much for taking the time to listen to us, and we hope that we haven't confused you too much.
Thanks, Andrea.
I see a question,
yeah.
Nicola, wanting to ask where you get the latest rule book from. Jamie, you can get them from the centre yet, or failing that, I know that Mighty,
We've got them in the centre, so obviously you can't buy them at the moment because we're not open yet. But as soon as our office is open, you can buy them from there. But we do have an online copy as well, just if you want to have a read over it before you actually get the physical copy.
Yeah.
And that's available on our...
And they're also available, they're also available on Mighty Ape. You can order them online through there as well. And someone else is just saying Netball New Zealand sends out by courier. So, yeah. Cool.
Anything else? Any more? Okay, so we'll probably wrap it up there, guys, but thank you everybody for coming along. The session is recorded as well, so we will put it up on our YouTube channel if you want to share it with anybody, or if you're feeling a bit bored and want to rewatch it. But yeah, thank you everyone for popping along, and I hope you all keep safe and healthy, and we'll surely see everyone soon when we return back to netball.
I'd just like to say one thing. Thanks, guys. That's been tonight's been a bit confusing. There's a lot to take over, but I mean, thank you for these two sessions, because it's really helped a lot.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay then, thanks
Thank you.
guys. See you soon.
Thank you.
See you. Bye.
Thank you.